backing down. Ed Conard, he's the former managing director at Bain Capital. He's the author of Unintended Consequences. He worked with Mitt Romney for many years at Bain Capital. Ed, welcome back. Good to see you again.
Sure, thank you for having me.
Now, the president had just come out full throttle there. Bain Capital, private equity, is bad. All they do is maximize profits, and that doesn't make you a good president of the United States of America. And your response is?
Well, let's not kid ourselves. It's not really an attack on Bain Capital. It's an attack on business generally. And I think the argument is propaganda always works in a way where you focus on half the truth instead of the whole truth. They want to pretend that all business does and all Bain does is work for investors. But everybody who's worked in business knows that business, first and foremost, works for their customers. And the customers pay for employees, customers pay lenders, and last of all, customers pay back investors. If you don't make the customer happy, you have no shot at being successful with your investment.
Now, the ads quote a couple of companies where people were laid off. I want you to go in the other direction for a second. Were you there at Bain when you were organizing Staples or any of the other companies that ultimately employed thousands of people?
Staples was a little before my time, a couple of years before my time, but we invested in 350 businesses over the course of Bain's history. A small minority of those businesses were unsuccessful. The revenues of the successful businesses grew about 2.5 times faster than the S&P 500, put in close to $100 billion increase in revenues in those companies. So the idea that Bain wasn't working hard to make businesses successful, you can't be successful with investors if you're not successful.
You're accused of going in, borrowing a lot of money, saddling the company with a lot of fees, and then hoping that you can turn it around and sell it later on with minus a few people. That's the accusation against Bain,
sure,
and against all equity, private equity, isn't it?
Hoping, but as opposed to working our tails off.
Is that how it works?
Well, one thing I'd say is I think people talk about saddling companies with debt. Inside the economy as a whole, we have a lot of risk-averse savers, okay, who want their money on demand. They don't want to take risk, and you need equity to underwrite the risk of business investment. So what do? You can leave that money sitting idle. We can have high unemployment and slow growth like we have right now. You can finance subprime consumption. That didn't work. Or you can give it to equity investors who use it to invest in businesses and try to make those businesses successful. Are they always going to be successful? No, of course not.
I think from Mitt Romney's point of view, he's got to make it a lot more simpler. Bain employees helped stock the shelves of the first Staples. Maybe over this, since 1986, they probably hired a couple 100,000 people who paid mortgages, put their kids through college. And just name the names. Hey, we helped Domino's, Sealy's, Brookstone, the Sports Authority, Burger King, Burlington Coat Factory, Dunkin' Donuts, Toys R Us. These are all thriving American businesses that Bain was involved in. You don't like that? Or you want me out in the corner? I mean, come on, this is amazing. I think
Charles is trying to say that you should not sit back. You should sit forward and say Burger King, Staples, and all the rest of it.
Now that he said it, I don't have to say it.
Make your case more strongly, Ed. You should.
Well,
you guys are under attack.
Yes, we are under attack, but I just say business is under attack, and I think all business has to step forward and defend themselves, and that is we're all working our tails off.
All right, last one, real fast.
To make businesses successful.
On the night that the president comes out with the anti-Bain ad, he goes to a fundraiser at Blackstone, which is a huge private equity corporation organization.
Sure.
Do you feel stabbed in the back by Blackstone?
I think he's going to take his money from wherever he can get it.
You are reluctant to go after Blackstone when they raise money for a guy who's anti-private equity.
Just keep in mind the head of Blackstone is a pretty strong supporter of Mitt. So there's people on all.
So what are they doing? Why on earth would you do this? Why would you raise money for the guy who's beating up on your industry?
I can't speak for the guys that are giving him money. I don't think it makes any sense.
You should go
after him, Ed.
You should go after. All right, Ed Conard, we're out of time. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.
What?